I was very proud of my booth. I was very cold because nobody was coming. We ended up cleaning up and packing up early. It's the first craft show where I'm not profitable. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Morgan and I have my own art small business called Morgan's Creations. In this video, I'm going to be vlogging my very first craft show of 2025. This craft show turned out to be very unexpected, so I hope you guys enjoy this vlog. I didn't realize this until after I got home and I reviewed the footage, but because my card reader was in my phone while I was filming, it corrupted the audio, so the audio is unusable, and the venue was pretty loud and they were also playing copyrighted Christmas music, so for all of those reasons I'm going to be doing a voiceover. So this show was 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and we got there around 7:40, which gave me a little over an hour to set up. I did originally have a time-lapse video of me setting up, but I lost that footage and I will explain how later in the video. My spot was in the gym at booth number 35. So the booth is in an L shape for this show. The booth space was 10 by 10. So on the end of my booth, the table on the right side, I started with my magnets. I just set them up on a whiteboard so you can kind of see them in action. In front of the magnets, I have my prints. I have two baskets. One holds my 8 by 10 prints and the other holds my 5 by 7 prints. I have some random assorted paintings in a bin that people can flip through. I also have a little sign with some information about who I am and my business, and a spot where you can grab a business card. And I have some other paintings on display. Those are on display easels in the back. I have a plastic display stand for my watercolor bookmarks and a small whiteboard sign to go with it. This small Christmas tree holds all of my plastic acrylic pour ornaments. In the pink basket in front of it are all of my glass ornaments. Behind that is a sign with some information about the different types of payments I can take. Business card stand right here on this side. Taking up the entire left half of the table that faces customers, is my wood ornament display. These are my best-selling items and they are the items that I have the most inventory of, so I did need a very large display for these. On top of the table, I have these white square cubbies, this kind of like cubby display thing. Above that, in front of it, is the pegboard display. I'm so proud of how it turned out. It's absolutely perfect. And I also have these LED snowflake lights. I think it makes the whole setup look really cute and Christmassy. And I really love the red tablecloth. I think it makes my booth pop. I wanted something simple, neat, clean, and minimalistic looking while still having a small amount of Christmas decor. This was my first check-in. This was 2 hours after the show had started and I had 0 sales and I was starting to have some regrets. I got my first sale around 11:30 a.m. and then nothing happened for the next hour and a half. I set up the camera to have some b-roll and maybe capture some moments. It was just a lot of waiting, a lot of sitting around. There wasn't a lot of foot traffic and I was very cold in the gym. It felt like cold air was blowing, which is why I wore my coat the entire time. At this point, there were 2 hours left and I still only had 1 sale. Luckily, about 10 minutes later, I got my second and final sale, so I have footage of me packaging up this sale. This was my biggest sale of the show, so I got out my packaging. This person ordered a print and 2 ornaments, so I bagged them together and closed it off with a thank you sticker, and then I also wrote down what I sold, and I saved the SKU number stickers from the wood ornaments. So that's kind of what I do. After I make a sale, I write everything down and save any information I need for later. And then nothing exciting or interesting happened, so I'm jumping to the tear down and cleanup. We did start packing up a little bit early because there were literally no customers. I think everybody stopped coming around 2:45 and it technically ended at 3 p.m. but because nobody was coming, we ended up cleaning up and packing up early, and so did most of the other vendors. So by this time I figured out the time-lapse issue and I was able to get some footage of me tearing down, cleaning everything up, and packing up to leave. I was super tired, but as soon as I got home, I checked my notes to see every item I sold and I entered that in on my spreadsheet. And then I also removed that stock from my online shop. I had to update these listings on my shop to make sure they say sold out because obviously I don't have those items anymore. Update my shop with everything that has sold out. So I'm back home now. It's later in the evening. I took a long nap. I was so tired. I had to be up super early. I think I woke up at 6 a.m. It's time for me to give a recap of the craft show. And as you probably saw in the footage, it didn't go very well, honestly. My 2025 craft show season is not off to a great start. So this was my first craft show of the year. It was on a Sunday, and it was honestly probably one of the worst, if not the worst, craft show experiences I've ever had. There were a lot of different factors I think that led to that. It was also really cold. It was snowing in the beginning for a few hours, and I was in the gym area, and for a couple of hours it was very cold. As you saw, I wore my coat the entire time because I was really cold, and it was just a very slow day. There wasn't a ton of foot traffic, I noticed, especially in the morning. Things didn't really pick up until around 12 p.m., which was when the show was halfway over. It was 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I ran into so many unexpected issues. I accidentally left some of my packaging at home. Luckily, my aunts came to the show and they were able to pick it up from my house and bring it to me. Also, I realized I was filming my time lapses wrong. I filmed a time lapse of me setting up, and when I went to review the video, it was gone. The timer thing was spinning, so it was recording, but I realized I was doing it from the front camera, and for some reason it doesn't work. It didn't save my time lapse from my front camera, so unfortunately I lost the footage of me setting up. But I did look up this show, I looked up the area, I did research, and from what I saw, especially on Facebook, it was a really large event. It was a good event. It had good positive reviews from vendors and customers, but just for some reason this year just didn't seem as busy. I think there were less people who attended, and everybody has a different experience. I'm sure a number of other vendors did really good, but for me and my items, it just didn't do very well. A lot of people were looking through my items. I got a lot of compliments, a lot of interest in my stuff, but there were not a lot of people actually making purchases at my booth. Another big thing too was that they did have a paid entry fee. It was $5 for adults. I definitely took a huge risk applying to this show. I had to factor in a lot of different things when picking my craft shows for this year, like how far they are, the vendor fee, the dates, everything like that. In this one, I definitely took a huge risk. It was my biggest risk, actually. The vendor booth fee was the most I've ever paid for a booth fee. It was about $77, which is insane. I've never spent more than about $45, so it was almost double what I normally pay, and I really thought I could make it back. This is the first show where I've never even made back my booth fee, so I was in the negatives for this show, unfortunately. Kind of disappointing, and now I'm starting off this craft show season in debt, in the negatives, but I think I'll be able to make that back and then some at my upcoming shows. I definitely will not be attending this show next year. I just think Sunday is not a good day for craft shows, at least in my area. I'm not going to do any shows that have a paid entry fee. I'm glad I at least made some sales. I had 2 customers who bought from me. I sold a total of 8 items. My first sale were 5 magnets. I sold these for $1 each, so I made $5 from magnets. But my last sale, this customer bought a print of mine, one of my 5x7 Paris watercolor prints, and then they also bought 2 of my wood ornaments. In person, I'm doing a little bit of a discount sale. I do 2 for $10 in person, so I sold 2 of those at $5 each, so my final sale was $20 total. So I made a total of $25 in sales, but like I said, my booth fee was $77, so my total profit was negative $52. And then there's other expenses too, like there was supposed to be a raffle item which I prepared, but they ended up canceling the raffle, so I'll kind of have to see if I'm out the money for that, because I did have to pull that from my shop and my website. I think I'm going to relist it, but I did have to take into the account a $25 item for the raffle, plus time, food, gas, stuff like that. So when you really think about it, I'm more like negative $100. Yeah, I was not profitable at this craft show. It's the first craft show where I'm not profitable. I will say though, I was very proud of my booth. I'm so happy with it. I absolutely love how it turned out. My plan and my vision turned out perfectly. It's everything I had in mind. It looks exactly how I wanted it to, and when I was done setting up, I was so happy with it. The pegboard display worked perfectly, and I was able to set up a little bit faster than I anticipated, so it only took me about an hour to set up. My mom and my grandpa came to help me, and I'm very grateful for their help. They did a lot of work, a lot of the heavy lifting. I have another craft show this upcoming Saturday on November 15th, but until then, if you're interested in any of my items, you can purchase them on my shop. I will leave the link to my shop in the description. You can shop my new Christmas collection, which includes over 150 new wood ornaments, also my hand-painted watercolor bookmarks. Any online shop sales would really help me. I'm really hoping I'll get a few online sales this year to kind of make up for that booth fee. I really wish things turned out differently, but it is what it is. I'll just have to do better at my next shows. I still have 3 shows left this season, and those are projected to be better. 2 of them I've done before, and I usually do good at those shows, so I'm really expecting to just do better from here on out. In the comments, let me know your thoughts on this video. Let me know your thoughts on my booth display or my items. Let me know your thoughts on how the craft show went. Let me know if you guys plan on going to any craft shows this year. Leave all of your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!